Have you ever wondered which video game genres are the most popular and the best selling? Today I'm going to run through some brand new data and dive into the evolution of the top 3 genres to pinpoint why they may be more successful than others. "12.9% of all games sold are role-playing games. RPGs can be traced back dozens of years, and time sure has changed them. The genre started with traditional tabletop RPGs like Traveller, D&D, and RuneQuest, but the history of role-playing actually began in 16th century Europe with improv theater. Board games came later, influenced by the character role-playing in these live performances. It seems silly, but that's really where it all began. And then we had party-based isometric RPGs like Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights, followed shortly by class-based JRPGs such as Final Fantasy, and they took much influence from the rigid character systems in earlier role-playing games. It was the turn-based battle systems and world maps being the norms of RPGs, only to be then shadowed today by open worlds inspired by the very first Elder Scrolls game. Today, there are so many types of RPGs, from MMOs to Dragon Age Inquisition, The Witcher, and Fallouts, and top-down games like Diablo 3. But things have changed. The American audience in general seems to be gravitating towards games that feature real-time combat, whether it's cooldown-based, such as World of Warcraft, or free-form swordplay, such as The Witcher. We're moving away from Japanese-inspired traditional role-playing games with turn-based battle systems. But really though, what is a role-playing game these days anyway? The marketing term, "this game has role-playing elements," is extremely popular, usually defined with common norms such as skill trees, stat points, character development and customization, storytelling, or choice, as seen in games like Mass Effect. But action games can also have these elements too, all of them in fact, including The Last of Us and Uncharted. When you really break it down, they have more role-playing than most modern-day games that call themselves role-playing games.
I'm glad I didn't get my head blown off by a goddamn kid.
They check all the boxes. So what makes an actual role-playing game? I think the real draw to role-playing games, regardless of what metric you use to define the game, has got to be story and characters. Many RPGs today are quite fantasized, both in terms of how we play them and the subject material or story. Games like Final Fantasy XV present worlds that are impossible to exist outside of being built from our imaginations. Giant flying dragons shooting super scion lasers, to floating cities, magic, revival mechanics, to hairdos that defy gravity. These kinds of settings have the potential to be unrelatable, but then you have a game like Fallout 4, which is about people, even though the world has many fictional elements from the enemies to the powers and the weaponry. I don't think role-playing games will ever be the top-selling genre though. They demand so much time and investment to learn about what's going on, to get through everything. It's a great genre, just not one for everyone. Action games account for 22.5% of all video game sales, and if I can be honest, it's my favorite genre. Back when games were less complicated, action games became really popular because they introduced mechanical challenge. Action games are about the relationship between the hands on the controller and the mind of the player, because it was all about mechanics and challenge. In action games, you're not thinking as much as you are reacting to things. Many action games of the past were built on this concept of mechanical challenge to offer enough replayability to justify their cost. But action games have evolved so much. My favorite game of all time is The Last of Us. It's one of those games that takes a slower approach to action by incorporating elements from other genres, such as real-time crafting from survival games, and cutscenes first introduced by JRPGs and games like Half-Life. It's really a genre where anything is possible. The Just Cause series in open-world destruction, Lego Superheroes, Max Payne and Bullet Time, how Tomb Raider brought puzzles to the table, Resident Evil and the action horror subgenre, GTA, the Arkham games. The possibilities are really endless. You may have guessed it, but shooters, first-person shooters specifically, account for 27.5% of all video game sales. Why are so many people entranced by first-person shooters? It's fun to shoot things. Or maybe it's that human element, something psychological about being in the first-person space. It's kind of like when you read a book. There's a huge difference between the narrative in first or third person. First person is usually more immersive by default. First-person perspectives really draw you into the game. You're not controlling a character, you are the character. First-person games create that sense of player agency because the motor functions associated with both playing and being in a shooting game mirror our own lives. It's easy to get drawn into first-person games subconsciously because of perception theory. The effectiveness of your actions are visible and tangible, otherwise not as definite when controlling a third-person camera. First-person shooter worlds started off as mazes to inflate game length due to a lack of hardware memory, but as technology improved and evolved, the genre was able to take many new forms. You've got the modern military shooter, the Halos, the Destinies, stealth games like Dishonored, and of course, story-based fictional shooters like BioShock and Metro Last Light. Each subgenre caters to a niche audience, but ultimately, they all boil down to the same thing: gunplay. The modern-day first-person shooter comes with so many expectations these days: a feature-length campaign with hopefully cooperative play, a full multiplayer components with dedicated servers, detailed graphics, 60 frames per second standard, and downloadable content to extend the game's lifespan. Although there is no set standard, FPS games can bring together huge groups of people in games like Battlefield or Overwatch with competitive and team-based online play. All of that really started with Halo back in the Xbox days with co-op play and multi-console system link, which was just a blast. First-person shooters are inherently more visceral than third-person games, and with that comes the illusion that they are more detailed. After all, you can physically get closer to objects, textures, grass, NPC faces, and everything else, all of it adding to the immersion factor. But really though, first-person shooter games are just plain fun, and there are endless possibilities for the genre as a whole. So those are the 3 highest selling genres. Comment down below and tell me where you think the direction of these genres are going in the future. And thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, by all means hit the thumbs up button for me and subscribe here for more of our future content. You guys have an awesome day. We'll see you in our next video.